retirement is dangerous. John
Yes.
Cowan, is that true? Is retirement so dangerous? What are we getting ourselves into if this is what
Well,
where we're heading?
well, this is something I heard a long time ago, and I actually went online to check. And so, as much as the internet is a source of reliable information, it says that retirement is dangerous, especially for men. That mortality rates jump 20% in the year after retirement. And why? And I
Yes.
think it's just because for men, they invest so much into their identity as a worker.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do is a standard greeting between men, and perhaps that does something. But it's even especially dangerous if you retire early, according to these figures I saw. If you retire at 55,
Mm-hmm.
the American figures anyway show an 80% increase in mortality over those that retire later or women who retire. And there's probably multiple reasons for that. Maybe the people who retire at 55 aren't keeping that well anyway.
Mm.
So I don't know what that is. And so it's probably a bit of an overgeneralization to say that retirement's dangerous, but I thought it sounded more catchy than
It
let's get
certainly
ready for
does.
retirement, which just sounds like such a bit of a lame
Well,
topic. So I thought
I'm
I'd prefix it with something a
yeah.
bit shocking,
That is
you know.
shocking. But you say let's get ready for retirement. And you know what, John? I've been thinking about it recently. Not that I'm close to retirement age, but I am getting closer than I was, say, a few years ago. And they
We
do
all
say
are.
start thinking about retirement early, start preparing for it financially and all of that kind of thing. So, yeah, look keen and looking forward to hearing your advice on this.
I don't know if I'm retired or not. Now, that might sound a bit odd, but for quite a few years now, I've been sort of working in what they call the gig economy, doing a bit of
Mm-hmm.
radio, a bit of recording, a bit of writing, a bit of weddings and funerals and things. I generally just call myself self-unemployed. And so I just basically do what I want to do. And as t the government started giving me money, so they think I must be retired. So that's nice. So but I do think about it. Many of my friends are lurching into it,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them hate the idea because they think, what am I going to do for
Mm.
all that time? But the experience of most people, so I'm told, is that they love it at the start.
Okay.
I was just talking to a friend last week. He's 2 weeks into retirement and he is just loving it because it's a vacation. He
Mm.
can sleep in. He doesn't have a schedule. He doesn't have to do anything. And I believe the typical experience is that the vacation stage lasts about a year, and then you start to miss the schedules, you start to miss the work.
Mm.
Um, and of course, if you haven't planned financially well, you certainly miss the income. But and so many people go into a stage where they're bored and frustrated and feel meaningless, and and so they then usually start casting about for things to do.
Mm.
And so, can I just urge you to perhaps even think, even before you retire, what is something that I could do that would be meaningful? And for most people, the biggest buzz comes from giving in some way. Giving of yourself, giving of your time, giving of your very experience, and it might be and so most of the people I know that are enjoying their senior years have not stopped working. They've
Mm.
stopped working for salary or wages,
Mm-hmm.
but they've moved into volunteering or gift work, which I think is a lovely phrase for it, a lovely term for it,
Mm.
gift work, doing stuff for the organizations that they applaud, their churches, throwing their weight in behind political movements or conservation movements or mentoring people, helping out as you know, in aid organizations and things. And this seems to really put a bit of a spring into their step. And so start to think what will give you significance. The other thing to do is don't end up in retirement suddenly stuck in a house with this man or woman that you may have been much in love with a couple of decades before, and you try desperately hard to remember why was that. Keep on working on your relationship so
Yep.
that after the kids leave home, you've got some other point of contact. And
Sure.
that might be shared activities, uh, regularly going out, going on holidays together. And the other thing, one of the things I realize that I can give my wife that no one else can is my absence. And so by having separate interests, having a separate
Mm.
life is so important as well. And separate space around the place, respecting each other's privacy and hobbies and habits, and to be able to give each other space to grow and encouraging people in that. So the other thing is to cultivate a social life. I run the cycling group, and so many people tell me that the cycling is almost incidental. It's the
Mm.
friendship, it ticks so many social boxes, and it's fun. And so,
There's a
um,
bit to think about, John, isn't
yeah,
there?
yeah,
So, you know,
keeping your relationships, keeping your
yeah.
social life, keeping a sense of significance. And I think, look, if you can tick those boxes, you're in for a long, happy, healthy retirement, I hope.
Well, it sounds like a real plus to me. And I'm guessing too, you know, you talked about cycling club, and I'm thinking, you know, yes, there's a social aspect, and I'd be all in for that. But
Mm.
also there's that physical aspect as well, you know, getting up,
Oh,
getting
yeah.
moving, and all of that sort of good stuff. Because I can imagine, and I could see myself doing this, sort of being at home, reading my book. Oh gosh, I've been sitting for 3 hours, you know, and that can't be good long term. So I suspect getting out and being physical as well is
Yeah,
very important too.
absolutely. One final thing is get those hearing aids. You
Okay.
know,
All
your
right.
partner's been nagging you to do it, and you've been putting it off because you think, oh, if I get hearing aids, I'll look like an old person. But honestly, nothing disconnects people more than
Mm,
being on that fringe of not being able to hear quite right.
yeah.
And so, could I really urge people to swallow their pride? And yes, they are expensive. I thought the guy was giving me his phone number, but it was actually the price. And but they make such a difference to your ability just to
Oh,
stay connected with the world.
so important. And I know many people who perhaps have dragged their heels on that particular one. And
Yeah.
yeah, and really wish they hadn't because it is so isolating otherwise. Hey, some great advice today. I'm loving it. I think I want to be retired. I'm going to start working on it now anyway.
Well, just remember it's dangerous if you do it too soon.
Oh, oh, I've got a few years left then. Hey, John, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. It's absolutely a
Cheers.
joy to catch up.
Lovely to talk to you. Bye bye.
Thanks for joining us on Rhema. Now, if you found value in today's content, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel with the subscribe button. This really helps us to continue to produce more quality content for you. And hey, if you'd like to stay updated and never miss any of our future videos, ring that notification bell as well. Don't forget to follow us on our other socials, which are in the description below. And until then, stay tuned.